It's Saturday afternoon on SABC One, and you know what that means. It's time for Game On, of course, brought to you by Hollywood Bets. I am Caesar Mabena, proud to be in the company today of Jerry Skosana later on to discuss the local game, and right now, Shane McGregor to discuss what's happening out in England. Keep in mind, later on, we've got a special story, an inspiring Hollywood Bets story to tell you about a photographer out in Naval known as Vino Snaps, who's shaking up the world of football in the best way possible. But for now, let's talk about England. Shane, great to be in your company. We've discussed Forest week in and week out. We can't ignore Forest from the end of 2024 and coming into 2025. Lost last week, and we wondered how they would bounce back, and if they could bounce back against Brighton. And a 7-0 thrashing of Brighton means they were back in order.
Yeah, good to be here again. Yeah,
Sure.
Definitely back in production, as we can call it. The week before was just a blip. It's one of those things, it does happen to every team, but they just showed what they're capable of. I mean, $7 is a hard in. It's the biggest score, I think, for them in 30 or 40 years or something, or whatever, So a big result. And we've always been, and I've been saying, watch out for this team. They're going well. A spirit to it. What a coach. I mean, he's got those players firing on all cylinders. Can you imagine when they spend some money and they bring new players in?
It need to be said, though, Brighton on slouches.
Exactly.
This is no ordinary team here in the Premiership.
Look, Brighton have been struggling a little bit of late.
Sure.
7-0, that's a hardie. And I mean, you look at that team. You got Wood as a striker. He's been around all over the place. He's close to retirement ages than he is to starting. So, he's taken players that are been on the fringes, and he's made them better players. I mean, he got a hat-trick on the weekend. Just shows you what you can do.
Yeah, now, talk about Liverpool and what they've been doing. Cruising, some may say, and 2-0 away at Bournemouth means they are really cruising, and it's up to the rest of them now to wait for Liverpool to somewhere stumble along the line, but it looks as though all is in order for Liverpool right now.
I disagree with you, cruising, because they struggled against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I watched the game. It wasn't a pretty game. At the end of the day, we got the result. Salah, 2 goals again, penalty, and then a phenomenal goal. But as I say, Bournemouth, again, one of those teams where you can't go there and just say, we're going to get 3 points. It doesn't work like that. Liverpool struggled, but get the points, that's all that counts.
The big game of the weekend, Arsenal-Manchester City. I was certainly looking forward to this one. I thought maybe City would make a bit of a statement about a strong ending to the season. Arsenal, well, they made a statement of their own, a 5-1 thrashing of City.
Well, the pupil taught the professor.
Yeah.
And when I watched that game, I mean, they were knocking the ball around the old way City used to do, and they didn't have a clue. I mean, there was one stage when they got one of their goals, there was 30 passes without Man City touching the ball before they scored. Brilliant performance. But having said that, Arsenal go play midweek in a cup game, semi-final, play the full team and get beaten 2-0. That's a bit of a worry for me, that you go from high like that to a very low. But having said it, they gave Man City a lesson, and it just shows you how far Man City have dropped off the pace.
And how often do we get to say both Manchester sides lost on the same day? Yes, for Manchester United, maybe it's a given, but for both of them to lose, United losing 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace.
I had a full time with that. A lot of my friends are Man United supporters, so you can imagine you're lucky to get a call, but I had fun. I was saying Palace what? Crystal woo. But anyway, long story short, Man United are off the, they're nowhere near. They brought in a few players, but no attacking players. Two of their attackers have left. So, good luck to them. A lot of building to be done there.
Needs to be said, though, for Crystal Palace, for a side that struggled in the first half of the season, they really just struggle. They've improved of late. They are up to 12th now, and with that win, they jump up ahead of Manchester United on the log stand.
That says it all. It says it all about Man United's season. They're lucky they got points early on, otherwise they'll be in the relegation battle. It's as simple as that.
Tottenham, the 2-0 win over Brentford.
Up and down. A lot of injuries, a lot of players out. They've coming right slowly but surely, but the problem with them is the injuries. They have got so many injuries, it's just not true.
Chelsea now back in the top 4 after their 2-1 win in the derby against West Ham. Yeah, they blow out and cold, Chelsea, but they're about in that top 4 race.
Right, they're thereabouts. They'll be there until the end of the season. As I said, a lot of youngsters, so they do blow out and cold, but they're a decent side. They're a team to watch. If they can keep that team together, they'll be fighting for the title in 2 or 3 years.
Newcastle, 6th spot. Manchester City currently 5th spot. They're behind, of course, Chelsea. It's an interesting top 4 race when you consider City's only 2 points behind Chelsea at this point, and so Newcastle. So that top 4 race is worth keeping an eye on.
Well, the 3rd and 4th spots is worth keeping an eye on, because the top 2 are done. That's between Liverpool and Arsenal, but the rest is going to be a bun fight. You know, at the end of the day, it's about whoever can put through a string of results. Man City have brought a few players in. Whether it's going to be good enough, they have brought in a centre midfielder. Whether it's going to be good enough, we'll see. But too late to tackle for the title, but their 3rd and 4th spot, definitely worth fighting for.
Then, whilst we're talking about that top 4 race, Nottingham Forest currently just 3 points behind Arsenal. Could we not sneak them into the argument for a top 2 battle between themselves and Arsenal?
I think Arsenal will keep that 2nd position because they gain well, you know, and they do get the results. And having said that, I spoke earlier about getting beaten, but they are consistent and they are doing it consistently. Where if you look at Forest, if they have those blips, it's going to be a problem. My worry with Forest is the big squad. They haven't got a big squad, and that's the big worry for me.
What if someone else to maybe juxtapose that and playing devil's advocate and say, well, Arsenal also busy midweek with Champions Leagues and so on. Would that not maybe distract them in the league race going forward, or are they used to it?
They're used to it. They know exactly what to do. They've done it for a couple of seasons now, so they know exactly where they are. They have got the bigger squad, and they have got a lot of youngsters coming through. 2 of the youngsters have come through from junior age. So, you know, everything to play for those boys.
So much to play for out in England, and my oh my, is it not interesting when you look at the battle at the top, including all the way down to number 6, and how those teams will be battling for a top 4 position. Life interesting out in England. Keep in mind, the focus this weekend very much on the FA Cup. Next week when we come back, we'll focus again on what's happening in the league race. We take a short break with Shane, talk to Jerry Skosana and what's been happening locally with the derby in Soweto, the derby in Pretoria, including all the action in the PSL. Come back later with Shane and discuss what's happening in Germany.